What is up, guys? This is Raventune, and there's been a lot of hype on my latest few videos, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of a reply to all my comments, and try and give you an update on everything as well, and what's going on with all the comments and stuff. Now, I'm going to just start with the most recent comment I have, and then we'll go from there. So, the most recent comment I have is, what cooler are you using and what motherboard? I'm using the Deepcool Captain 360EX, and that's on an MSI B350M Gaming Pro motherboard. That's just the cheapest one I could find at the time. I was just going for the wife would kill me if I got something more built, you know. Next question. This was on my update on system stability and everything. They asked me to try the Intel burn test, and they ask, why is my DRAM voltage so high? I'll answer the DRAM voltage question first, so that's going to be a little bit easier to talk about. My DRAM voltage was so high because I was overclocking my memory. That's all there is to it. Overclocking everything. That's going to cause you to have to jump up your voltage. And the reason I don't use Intel burn-in test is basically it's just a system heater. It basically just makes your system heat up as much as possible. And it's really meant for Intel CPUs. It's what they use to test Intel CPUs. It works with their architecture and everything. For those of you who don't realize it, Intel and AMD have two totally different architectures. They run very different ways. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons I don't use Intel tests, is because mainly it's a heater program. It just makes your voltage go, makes your CPU just basically just burns it. And it's a Ryzen CPU, it's AMD. Those old jokes about AMD being heaters and stuff, yeah, they may put out a lot more heat, but you know, that's one of the prices for what they do better. Okay, and I'll just go on with that. Someone asked me what I was using on my how to overclock. Okay, how to overclock to 4.0. They figured it out later, but I was using AMD Ryzen Master Utility. That's what I was using for that one. Let's see. 4 gigahertz on a Ryzen processor. That was that one that basically that was my first video that really got noticed. And the guy asked, "Hey bro, how are the VRMs? I can't decide if I'm going with the ASRock AB350M Pro 4 or for this one, is the VRM true 6-phase, because the ASRock one is actually 3+3. Plus I need some plus I really need some cheap OC." Alright, now the VRMs and the power phases on the B350 board. As far as I can tell, it's either 3 or 5 phases on the B350. And that's just referring to the chokes. I'm not an expert at this. I'm just a normal person who just loves technology. I don't do this for a living. I actually work as a cook at a restaurant. But I do this on the side just because I love technology. And that's one of my things. But basically, if you're wanting to overclock, you can go with a B350. That does allow for overclocking. But if you want really powerful overclocking, you're going to have to go with an X370 board. It has better, the boards that have that usually have more chokes on them, more capacitors, basically more ways for you to straighten out the power, especially coming from, especially if you don't know if your power supply can handle it. You gotta make sure that you have a good enough power supply. 80 plus platinum is great. 80 plus titanium, even 80 plus gold. The overclocking comes from a lot of different things. It's not just one thing. It's not just the board, the CPU. Everything has to work together for a good overclock to be put in. And from what I've heard, I've actually got really lucky with what I'm using. But I'm also using an overkill cooler for this. I'm using the Deepcool Captain 360X, and that's just overkill. It's a triple rad on my system. So that's one of the reasons that I can get a good overclock, is because I'm going overkill on the cooling. That helps a lot. And I mean, MSI is really good about their overclocking potential. I mean, it just really depends on who you trust on overclocking. They're all pretty good. You know, it's just who you trust. I've had more good experiences with MSI boards. My old system ran on an MSI 990 FXA gaming. That's what I used to run my 9590 on, with the Captain Deepcool 360EX. But yeah, it's just whichever boards you are most comfortable with, whichever brand you're most comfortable with. And just different boards everything is gonna be completely different from person to person. No two people are gonna have the same experience with the overclocking, because no two boards are the same. Every board has different things that happen. One electron could be out of place in one spot, and it can either make or break that overclock for that board. Alrighty, and let's see. I just released an update video on my system stability, so creative, you got that. Let's see. Hey, reply me please. I want to buy Ryzen 1700 with MSI B350M Gaming Pro because it's cheap. The CPU will not cause any problems to the motherboard. That's a question. It's not too strong, I mean powerful for this cheap motherboard. Sorry for the bad English, I hope you understand. Yeah, I understand you completely, bro. Yeah, these systems, they will run together perfectly. The 1700 and B350M, they work perfectly together. You can even use the 1800X. You're just not going to get as good of overclocking performance, and you're not going to get as many, usually, you're not going to get as many SLI lanes or crossfire lanes. But yeah, that's basically it. And let's see, the final one on those video. Okay, yeah. Let's see. What you're cooling it with? I already answered that. The stock cooler is 90 degrees with this voltage. Yeah, like I already said, the Deepcool Captain 360EX. What's the RAM and which RAM? Okay. The RAM, I bought it as a 16 gigabyte kit, single stick of RAM. It's Avant. It's not one of the big ones like Gale or HyperX or anything like that. It's just an Avant. I probably just completely butchered that name, but it's an Avant 16 gig 2133. Now I did overclock it, and that's part of where my system stability is going down the drain. It's overclocked to 2666. I forget what cast latency I have on it. Let me just check. I think it's cast latency 14, but I'm not certain. Let me just pull all that up just real quick. Command center, and let's see. Okay. Now I have it. TCL is at 14. TRCDRD is 16. So it's basically 14, 16, 16, 16, 34. That's what I have it set right now at with 2666. that's the best overclock I can get on my RAM right now. And just for safety purposes, until I get some of the kinks worked out, I think a lot of it may be my power supply may be going out on me. I switched it back down to 3.9 gigs on the speed. I think my power supply is going out on me. And I know I haven't been able to overclock my graphics card lately. I'm not sure what's causing that. It's maybe because it's just so old. It's a 390, R9 390 from a couple years ago. And I've had it with this system for about 2 years now. So yeah, let's see, is there any other big questions that people had? No, it don't look like there's any more. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it on this Q&A and me and answering some of the questions. And just one final thing, guys. Like I said, I am not a professional at this. I didn't even start this YouTube channel to do tech. I started it to do gaming videos, Minecraft mainly. And I got so excited about the Ryzen processors and gaming computers in general that I just had to start doing this. But yeah, guys, if you'd like to see more gaming, let me know. If you'd like to see more tech reviews, like I said, I'm a small channel. I work a minimum wage job, so I can't really get a hold of new tech very much. But if you'd like to see some tech reviews and stuff, just let me know. And if you have any ideas for what you might want to see, as long as it's within my budget and within what I can afford, I'd be happy to do it for you guys. But until then, guys, peace, love, and donuts. Come on back to the birdcage.